What's going on, guys? I hope that you're all having a wonderful day today. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Ty, and today in this video, I'm going to be talking about whether or not the Batman and the universe that comes with it should be integrated into the new DC universe, the DCU, of course, that's going to be run by James Gunn. Now listen, you might be wondering, why am I bringing this up right now? First of all, I feel like the Batman has just been super relevant recently, especially with the Penguin currently airing, and from there, the DCU, the hype for it has been ramping up. We've been getting castings for Green Lanterns, we've been getting some trailers for, Creature Commandos that's coming out, some new teases for Superman from James Gunn himself. So I want to talk about whether or not the Batman, which has already been established, of course, with its one film, and the Penguin that's currently here, is going to be in this new universe. If James Gunn should try to shoehorn it and transfer it over and basically just make it canon to the DCU, to where Superman and Robert Pattinson's Batman are going to be talking to each other. They're going to be interacting. They're going to be in the same films together. Is that a good idea? Is that not a good idea? Should it happen? Should it not happen? That's what I want to dive into here today. Now listen, I just want to be completely upfront with you guys. In my opinion, this is a horrible idea. I do not think that the Batman and, the Penguin, this entire universe that we've set up here, should be integrated into the DCU. But either way, I want to talk about it. I want to play devil's advocate. And let's just start off with the pros here, okay? Even though that I think there's way more cons, especially way more serious cons. But regardless, let's just talk about it. What are the good things that could come out of this? First of all, this universe will be off to a hot start. There is no denying that. The Batman, I think a lot of people think that it's the best Batman movie ever. If not, it's the second best, and it's second to one of the greatest superhero films ever. That's going to be The Dark Knight. A lot of people really like Robert Pattinson's Batman. The character was set up really well. The film was great. From there, you're developing Gotham. You're developing this world with the Penguin. You're setting up a new little side villain, if you even want to call him a side villain, the Penguin, or he's an anti-hero, whatever you want to say. Regardless, you've already developed this universe with good projects. You're off to a hot start. You've got a character that people really like. And on top of that, Matt Reeves, the main creative, of course, the director of The Batman, he worked on The Penguin. He talks to James Gunn a lot. I mean, they're always talking. James Gunn said that he gave his notes for The Penguin when they were making it, just trying to, help out a little bit or whatever. So they're always in cahoots. They're talking to each other. They might be open to this, is basically what I'm trying to say. So it's not one of these things that would just be super forced and super out of the blue. But I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Unless you guys have some that you want to comment down below and let me know why this would be a good idea, there really aren't that many other pros. I think another great pro would be that, obviously Robert Pattinson's such a phenomenal actor. It would be great to have him in this universe for a very long time. I think his chemistry with not Robert Pattinson, that would be himself, with David Cornsweet as Superman, all these other characters, would be awesome. Honestly, I think it's just time to dive right into the cons, because there's just a lot of cons that I want to discuss as to why I think this shouldn't happen, why it won't happen, and why I just don't think it's a good idea just overall. Let's start off with, I don't know, because there's just so many. The first thing that comes to my head, that's going to be the fact that the vibes of these universes are completely off. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that the DCU is something that we haven't even seen yet. We don't really know what the vibe is going to be for Superman. We don't know what all these other projects are going to be like, because James Gunn has stated multiple times that there's going to be genre shifts from project to project. We could have maybe a horror-focused project, a more serious project, a more lighthearted project. So we're going to be jumping around when it comes to genres. But at the same time, the Batman is very grim. It's very serious. It feels like it's trying to be a good film on its own legs rather than just a superhero film, if that makes sense. It's trying to be a good detective story, not just about a guy in a suit jumping around fighting crime. And that's why I like the fact that it stayed relatively grounded. From there, what I just said, this is a very grounded franchise. The second you bring in a Superman, that illusion is broken, because I feel like that also would take away from the first film how Batman is just Bruce Wayne, a normal, rich billionaire, human being with no superpowers besides, some training. He's going against the Riddler, who's also just a human being that just happens to be smart, very intellectual, very creative with his, evil plans that he's basically trying to lay out here. But again, the second that you bring in these out-of-world, insane galactic threats, it makes that first Batman film feel awkward, because it feels like you're kind of going against the own rules of your own franchise that you've set up here with the Batman franchise, including the Penguin, I'm saying. So it makes everything feel a lot less important. And don't get me wrong, even in the MCU, there's always been more grounded threats than more galactic threats, but that's just so out of this world that it just feels really lame in comparison. And I'm not saying that the Batman isn't great. I'm just saying that it makes it feel a lot less important with what's going on with the Batman, whereas on the opposite end of that, in the Batman universe that we already know, the Riddler is a serious threat. But if you introduce this other stuff, he wouldn't seem like as much of a threat. That's basically just what I'm trying to say. You're taking away that grounded element. Now getting into sort of, I don't know if you want to say the business side of things. Honestly, on my channel, I don't want to always just be talking about like creative choices. I also want to talk about business choices. First of all, the DCU, they definitely want to start off fresh, okay? Robert Pattinson probably signed a contract for like 3 films, a trilogy, that's it. Robert Pattinson is in the prime of his career. Don't get me wrong, he's been in franchises. He's been in Harry Potter, but only in 1 film when he was younger. He's been in Twilight, the thing that basically started his career. But that just started his career. From there, it felt like he's doing independent film. Then Batman was a character that he was ready to take the helm for. But this is the thing. I don't think he wants to play Batman forever, so quite honestly, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for him to continuously jump around to these other films, whether it's a Justice League movie. I feel like he just wouldn't mesh, and I feel like he would want to do more films, like a Mickey 17 that he has coming out. I honestly don't even want to see Robert Pattinson play the Batman forever. I think he's way too talented for that. Give us a trilogy, I'd be more than happy. The biggest thing that I haven't even mentioned yet, which makes it pretty obvious that the Batman isn't going to be joining this universe, is the fact that The Brave and the Bold, the next Batman film that's going to be set in the DCU, is coming out at some point. So it doesn't really make sense for us to have the Batman running around. Then all of a sudden we have a second Batman in the same universe that's already been announced with a Bat family. That basically confirms that this isn't happening, but a lot of people for some reason still believe that this could happen. That would be a pretty cool idea. I just don't think that it would mesh. It doesn't make sense that you try to start this fresh universe. You already miraculously, relatively nicely tied up all the loose ends from the DCEU, even though there were a lot of open-ended conclusions. But I'm just saying, you're moving on. You're not bringing things over to the DCU, except maybe a Peacemaker. So it doesn't make sense to give yourself a rough start by trying to force a new universe to converge with your universe. In The Batman or The Penguin, we would have at least heard one word that Superman's flying around, or Green Lantern, or Wonder Woman, or something. We would have heard that already. So I think that it would destroy the world building of the Batman universe. And let's just be real here, guys. It's okay if we have 2 Batmans going at the same time, potentially. That's fine. But just trying to force this one into this universe, I just don't think that they mesh. I think the DCU could be really great on its own as this big blockbuster action type of franchise that has a lot of things to say, has good storytelling, but it's a bit more lighthearted. But again, there could be genre shifts, but I'm just saying. Whereas the Batman is more of a serious crime thriller with a Batman skin over it. I think they just work better separately. They act like 2 legends cannot coexist, man. These are 2 legendary franchises, potentially. Keep them separate. We don't need to be comparing them. We don't need to be putting them together, converging them like some multiverse story. No, let's keep them separate. Let's just appreciate both of these great things that DC has going. So at the end of the day, should this happen? Do I think this is a good idea? Should they cross over? My answer is definitely no. If you guys have any other reasons as to why you think they shouldn't, as to why this won't happen, it's definitely not going to happen. But I just want to speculate a little bit. Let me know down in the comments below. But guys, that's going to just about do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.